It's that one late night talk show that your grandparents probably watch because they don't know how to change the settings on the remote. And here's your host, Will. Hello, Internet. I'm Will, and welcome to a show that didn't exist for at least 25 seconds.
Well, fact check it.
Yeah, I can fact check it. Let's see. Yeah, I was right. 25.2 seconds, but that's still pretty impressive. Alright, so we have a great show for you. Welcome to sitting across from someone while wearing IKEA bucket hats. And how this show works, I find a random person on the street, don't kidnap them, just take them involuntarily to a building that got leased out to me on the 27th floor. So, I found this guy in the 37th floor of the building, dealing cheese to 6-year-olds.
Oh, hey. My name is Will.
Alright. So, what's your occupation? Or at least, how do you describe yourself?
I'm a cheese dealer.
You're a cheese dealer. What's your upbringing?
I grew up on a rock farm.
You okay?
Do you have stuff to,
Take an egg well. Alright. That's how you eat that. Good job.
I know how to
So could you
I know how to do it.
what does it take to be a cheese dealer? Did you have to go to college for it?
I was born at a very young age.
You were born at a very young age. I was born at a very old age, actually. I was born at the age of 15.
Huh. Well, anyways, so I grew up on a rock farm, which I actually built in Minecraft. Don't ask why.
So the rock farm isn't real.
No, I actually I built what the rock farm looked like in Minecraft. But the rock farm was real. Here you can see it.
Thank you. Oh wow, that's really neat. That's a very neat rock farm. You should be proud of yourself. So
Obviously, that's just a Minecraft recreation.
sure. So who did you live with?
I lived with my aunt and uncle.
Why not your parents?
They hated rocks.
They hated rocks. That's
Kind of like how Stalin hated RPGs.
Yep, that's.
But they loved walls. Kind of like how Stalin, although Stalin hated RPGs, he loved Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Yeah, I get that. Thank you for using Stalin as an example so I can comprehend what you're saying. Because everyone knows about what Soviet dictator Stalin likes and dislikes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That's very kind. So, when did you decide to move to the rock farm and away from your parents?
So I originally lived here in New York, but when I was like,
So you came back here.
oh,
So, where's the rock farm at in the U.S.?
it's in everyone's favorite Midwestern state, California.
Okay, yeah, California. All right. So you're in California in the Midwest, yeah?
Yep.
That makes perfect sense,
One of
and
the
no one
first
could
rock
fact check that.
farms.
One of the first rock farms.
Yep.
In the Midwest.
Mhm.
So it's probably the first one in California at that.
Mhm.
All right, that's quite interesting. So could you elaborate what it was like living on the rock farm?
It was kind of dull.
Kind of dull.
Mm.
Well, what? Did you ever grow tired of eating rocks?
No, rocks are delicious. Here, I brought a small one. It should be in my pocket here. Try this out.
Can I inhale it?
Yeah, that was good. Isn't it delicious?
I can see sound and taste colors, but continue.
Oh, look, a bird.
But continue. I can see sounds and taste colors. Just keep going.
Okay. So, basically, eventually it grew too dull. Like, don't get me wrong, I love rocks.
Well, did you ever think that your parents might have been right? As it started getting duller, did that ever cross your mind?
For about a month, I considered moving back to my parents' house.
Well, you moved back anyway. So what was that about? When did you start cheese dealing?
So eventually, I decided to try out something new with the rocks, right?
Yeah.
So I would get a goat one from the local goat man, who
I'm sorry. I'm gonna take one of those pills too.
so he had goats.
Yeah.
he would.
Well, he got them from your local goatery, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They would obviously bake goats and
Yes.
sell them off to people.
Alright.
And sometimes he would have extra horns. So I would take the horns and I would melt down the rocks, put them in the horns, and use them to make, and like use the molten rocks to make cheese in the horns. But then I discovered that I couldn't get the cheese out of the goat.
So you just gave the horn of cheese to them. What was this idea called?
It was called goat cheese. Not goat cheese, goat cheese.
Goat cheese, okay. That's actually that's very neat. That's very neat. I think there's a lawsuit pending for whoever made the name goat cheese instead of goat cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting.
I'm planning on suing them in like 2 days.
Nice. They're probably dead by now. But so when did you decide to move from California to New York?
Well, it was slow. I was like exploring the U.S. of A.
Well, how old were you at this time?
About 7.
About 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So you wanted to explore the U.S. You wanted to travel.
To find out what state loves cheese the most. And it turns out that it was the children of New York. So I went to the local goat man of New York City, right?
Yeah, the local goatery, Jimothy.
Yep. So I would get horns from him, and it would be like normal. I would grow rocks in my apartment because there was a perfect spot for growing rocks.
Yeah, I'm very glad because the governor just recently overturned a ban on growing rocks. So, what are your opinions on that?
Thank God.
Thank God. So, until then, were you illegally growing rocks, or?
I actually got a permit.
You got a permit to grow.
Yeah.
So, was it like for medicinal purposes for growing rocks?
Well, you can actually get a special permit that allows you to grow rocks, but you have to commercially sell them.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can't personally sell them.
You have to commercially sell them. Like,
No, I can understand that this
you
would be
can't
fun
keep them
for you.
personally.
Because as some famous businessman might have said, it's best to sell things face to face instead of like commercially.
It was pretty difficult.
It was pretty difficult.
Eventually powered through. And that building over there, that's my building.
That's your building.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The one called Trump Tower or whatever.
The one called Trump Tower. That's yours.
That's my building.
All right. Way to go. That's great. Well, I'm sitting across from the man who made Trump Tower. If you're just tuning in. All right. So, explain to us. So explain to me, when did you? I'm sorry. How old were you when you How old were you when you made Trump Tower?
About 22.
So you were 22 when you made Trump Tower. And is it true that Trump Tower was made entirely out of goat horns? Like condensed goat horns?
It's partially true.
It's partially true?
Mm-hmm. We used a mix of goat horns and crap, I forgot.
Goat cheese?
It was a mix of goat horns and
Candles.
cloth.
Cloth. Goat horns and cloth?
Yep.
Uh-huh. And
And it turns out that that's really stable.
huh.
And the windows are actually made just entirely out of we managed to get nitrogen
Yeah.
and turn it into a solid form. Or science team. So that's what the windows are made out of. So then it's like constant air conditioning.
Well, your story has truly inspired me. I want to thank you for coming out tonight. That was great. Is there anything else that you would like to say before you leave?
No.
Right, well, let's take him out.
Ow.
Hi, my name is Will, and you've all been great. I will see you in like a month or so. Goodbye. Get back, demon, be gone.